Hello everyone and welcome to a most exciting game from the Riga FIDE Grand Prix 2019. Now, as of this year, you all know that the Grand Prix has a new elimination system. They are having the knockout system, and first the players will play 2 classical games, then 2 rapid games, then 2 shorter rapid games, 10 plus 10, and then they will play 2 blitz games, and if all of those games are drawn, then they go into the Armageddon, where white has 5 minutes, black has 4 minutes, but if the game is drawn, then black wins the matchup. So this is what happened in the matchup between Sergey, Karjakin and Anish, Giri. They drew all the games and they went into Armageddon. Sergey has 5 minutes here, Giri has 4, but Giri is allowed to draw, and then he wins the matchup. So let's see how the game went. Karjakin opens with knight to f3. The reti is on the board, and before we continue, we do have 2 very nice photos of this encounter. There you have it, a nice close-up of Giri wearing, not sure if you can spot it, but those are actually chess pieces on his shirt. That is, it's been a while since I've seen something this cool. I wish I knew where I could purchase one shirt such as this one, as it's, well, not only confusing to your opponents, but also very cool. And also here we have a nice close-up of Karjakin. There you have it. Let's just enjoy that for a minute, not doing anything crazy with his shirt. Both photos compliments of Nikki Riga, the official photographer of the FIDE Grand Prix. I will put links to her Twitter and Instagram profile in the description below, so feel free to check out her other work if you are interested. So d5 by Giri, we have e3, knight to f6, c4 and c6. Sorry about that. Not d4, I said c4, sorry, c4 and c6, and with d4 we transpose into the Slav defense. With bishop to f5 by Giri, knight to c3, and now e6. Now that the bishop is out of his cage, you are allowed to close up the position like this. But now white is able to hunt the bishop down, so knight to h4. Karjakin goes after Giri's light square bishop, and now you could go bishop g6, bishop e4, you could go bishop to g4. Bishop g4 runs into pretty much the same thing as happened in the game, because you'll just move the queen, attack the b7 pawn, and here you'll go queen b6, all for a trade, f3, bishop will go back, h5, g4, and after bishop goes here, white will be able to capture it and then decide whether you will or will not trade queens. If you go bishop to g6, then you can capture the bishop immediately. In the game, we saw bishop to e4. Karjakin just pushes the bishop back. We have f3, bishop to g6, and now queen to b3. Just a nice developing move, attacking the b7 pawn. Here, Giri doesn't defend with queen b6, rather queen to c7. The b7 pawn is defended, and there's no well, danger in losing anything in the center, because the center is nicely protected. Bishop to d2 by Karjakin, bishop to e7, preparing to castle, and now g3. With ideas of maybe bringing the knight back into the game this way, but also if you need, you can always just capture on g6. The tension goes in white's favor. Knight b to d7, developing, and now rook to c1, preparing to open up the c file, and as the rook occupies the same file as the queen, the tactics should work in white's favor. So Giri beats Karjakin to the capture, d captures on c4, bishop captures on c4, and here we have castles. If you go b5, you don't want to do this, since we said that the rook occupies the same file as the queen. White can just give up the piece for 2 pawns here, and after the queen moves, you will just have knight c7 check and win the game. For example, the king will move, king f8, knight captures. You cannot trade queens because the knight would have an escape square, so queen captures, and now you just castle, and white will have a much better game here. So, after bishop captures on c4, we have castles by Giri, castles by Karjakin, and now e5 by black. And here, it's very interesting. Hard to say if Karjakin knew of this game before playing this Armageddon game, but Anish Giri already had this position in 2017 in the Tata Steel tournament against Radoslav Wojtaszek, where Wojtaszek played d5, and that game ended in a draw. So, probably, I mean, it's hard to say, was Karjakin aware of this game, but he goes for a different line. He plays knight captures on g6, and this is now a new move. This position has never happened before, and of course, as of move 14, we have a completely new game. H captures on g6, and now queen to c2, remaneuvering already with a threat. Queen captures on g6 is the threat, as the f pawn is pinned. So Giri doesn't allow him to react. We have E captures on d4. Now you have to react as your knight here is under attack. E captures on d4, and now knight to b6. Again, you cannot capture because you lose the bishop on c4. So bishop back to b3, and now queen to d7. Again, you cannot capture. If you capture here, then queen captures on d4 with check, threatens to win the bishop, and even after you block, okay, the bishop is defended, bishop to c5 now, threatening to win the rook, and after bishop e1, now you get queen to e3 with an attack on the rook, and after the rook moves, or you defend it, which is, well, probably you're going to defend it, now you get queen captures on f3, and it's actually black who is enjoying the pins, and black will now win material here, end the game. So, after queen d7, you still don't have a chance to capture here. Bishop to e3, just defending the d4 pawn. And now knight b to d5. Giri closes up this diagonal. With bishop to g5 by Karjakin, as his bishop on e3 is under attack. Rook fe8, and now rook c back to d1. Again, putting the rook on the same file as the queen. Knight captures on c3, b captures, and now this knight comes to d5. Here, Giri offers more trades, and he wants to trade down into a favorable endgame for him, because this is Armageddon, and any draw means that Giri wins the matchup. So, of course, Karjakin not interested in a draw. Bishop back to d2, and now b5. Giri is now happy with his position and what he's achieved. He now is ready to expand on the queen side. We have rook fe1 by Karjakin, and now bishop to d6, offering a rook trade. So how can Karjakin avoid more trades and improve his position at the same time? He plays rook to e4, which is an excellent move because he's threatening rook to e1 to completely dominate the e file, and black really can't capture. If you capture, not only does white get a monster pawn center here, but also after the knight moves, you get e5 in. The bishop is under attack, and once you move it, now queen captures on g6 works, and black will just lose this game very quickly. So after rook e4, we have f5 by Giri. Significant weakening of the king's side, but then again you are now forcing white to either move back to e1 or capture on e8. So Karjakin captures with rook captures on e8, now getting the other rook into the game, and now c4. Of course you want to open up the position and free your light square bishop here. You have to capture it. If you don't capture it, then white just wins material. For example, if you play knight e3, then just captures, and c5 check, wins the bishop on d6, it's a game over. So, bishop b captures on c4, with queen captures on c4, and now, of course, Giri wants to unpin. He plays king to h7, now the knight can move, but now Karjakin transfers his attention to the isolated weak c pawn here. So, bishop to a4. How do you defend it? And it's not easy to defend it, but the best idea is just rook d8. It's a hard move to find, especially in an Armageddon game. For example, you give up the c6 pawn and then knight b6. You offer to trade queens. Of course, white will probably decline as it is an Armageddon. Let's say queen c2, queen e7, and now you're down a pawn, but you're still playing the game. Here, after bishop to a4, Giri played knight to e7, defending the c6 pawn, but now it just doesn't work. Here, Karjakin has a winning position, and feel free to pause the video here and try to find the winning move for Karjakin. While I give you a couple of seconds. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, you are an excellent winner of Armageddon games. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, d5 is the winning move here. d5 wins because you cannot trade. If you trade, then just not even captures and captures, but rather queen to h4 check, king moves, and you win the queen for nothing. Or if after d5 black decides to capture with the knight, then just bishop captures here, you win material. Or not even that, you can just capture with the queen, it's enough, just you will win even more material. You're up a piece in a completely winning endgame. So after d5, Giri now decides, okay, it's time to defend the c pawn one more time. We have rook to c8, but now d captures on c6. Of course, you have to capture with the knight if you don't want to suffer material loss. Knight captures on c6, and now queen to h4 check. And now you will see the true power of the bishop pair. There is only one move for the black king. That's king to g8. Now, how do you continue the attack? Of course, now you just start using the bishop pair. Bishop to b3 check. You cannot oppose the bishop. Nothing can block the bishop. You can play queen to f7, but that's just silly. So king to f8 was played. Now comes queen to h8 with check. King to e7. And now, once again, feel free to pause the video and try to find the winning move for white. I'm of course only kidding. Of course you'll see it. It's mate in 1, bishop to g5 delivers checkmate. This is what Karjakin played, and this is how Anish Giri was eliminated from the Riga FIDE Grand Prix 2019. So really an insane matchup. 2 classical games drawn, then 2 rapid games drawn, 2 other rapid games drawn, the shorter ones, then 2 blitz games drawn, and then this game in Armageddon, really just a beauty. Bishops slicing the board in half, queen controlling the last rank, and the black king is just doomed here. So yeah, that's what happens. Those are the joys of Armageddon for the audience, probably not for the players all that much. But even in Norway chess, where we really saw Armageddon for the first time in such, with such elite players playing it, everyone favors white. Even though white has to win, everyone favors white. This is something I thought will not be the case in Armageddon. I thought, black will always be able to draw in Armageddon, but not really. White wins Armageddon. So it's really, really awesome. But yeah, that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. We're going to show at least one more game from round 1 and from the tiebreaks, and then we're going to check out the standings and who goes into the quarterfinals and who goes home. I would like to thank Michael Cabral, Frank Combs, and Mikołaj Malashinsky for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with some more interesting content, continuing this short coverage of the FIDE Grand Prix, checking up on your suggestions, and of course continuing the Capablanca saga. Thank you all. I will see you soon. Have an excellent start of your week.